Hello and thank you for joining me in this Mind Mastery video. Today I'm going to talk about authenticity and how it's related to the individuation process. And I'm going to demonstrate certain similarities between these two and why one is dependent on the other. So to start with, we often might have an idea that authenticity is something that you either have or not. So it's something very static, something that, some people are either authentic or not. Whereas in fact, I think that is just a process, just like any other mental processes that we are having. For instance, if you look at your personality traits, they are static from one perspective, but if you go a little bit deeper, you will see that your personality traits are constantly developing. So, as you learn and adapt to the environment, as you gain new experiences and gain new knowledge, then obviously that's going to affect your own development, right? So that's going to also affect your level of authenticity. However, what is it that we are trying to be authentic with? And obviously our authenticity depends on our level of self-awareness and how much we know about our true self. I've spoken about the true self in previous videos. So we know that the true self is not so simple to learn about, because first of all, if we go along with the perspective of Carl Jung, we know that there are various levels to our psyche, to our mind. There is a whole ocean of the unconscious processes that we are constantly bombarded with, and the true self is usually buried under this whole structure of different processes. So it's not something that is permanently static either, because in one situation you might be very aware of what you want, what you need, who you are, where your reactions are coming from, and so on and forth. But then in other situation, perhaps when you're feeling a little bit worse, or maybe you're just having a bad day, then this notion of the true self might, completely disappear from the whole horizon. So it's not as simple as we might want to think. And the same applies to authenticity. For instance, Carl Rogers defined authenticity as simply a harmony between how you feel, what you think, and how you behave. So this is to some extent very, very useful, obviously, because it gives us an idea as to what to expect from ourselves if we want to be authentic. But then I kind of disagree with this theory because it doesn't go as deep as other theories, let's say. For instance, what if there is this harmony between your feelings, your thoughts and behaviors, but what if this harmony harmonizes the false parts of you, the parts of you which are not representing the true self. So obviously on the one level you might say, yes, I'm authentic, but then on the other hand, you're not expressing the true self. There is a harmony, but it's not the harmony expressing this true authentic self. So that's where I think the individuation process comes in, because in order to be, truly authentic, you need to know your true self. And that's what the individuation process is about. It's about learning and exploring different parts of you and questioning your reactions, questioning your behaviors, your emotions, your thoughts, and so on and forth. So I think that individuation process and authenticity, or building authenticity, is actually perhaps even one and the same process, or maybe a parallel process, whereas one depends on the other. Because if you want to develop authenticity, you need to know your true self. And in order to know your true self, you need to engage in some exploration of your unconscious mind, right? So in a way, when you're developing authenticity, you kind of dive into your unconscious mind in order to find out and question whether your reactions are coming from the true self or whether they are simply projections. Now we know that projections is a tricky subject. Some people associate it with certain mental health disorders, which I disagree with, because I think that most people project. I mean, even if you do a lot of personal work, it's very difficult to get rid of projections because they are the manifestation of your unconscious processes, unconscious conditioning, which have been present for the most part of your life. So when you want to get rid of projections, it's not only about questioning yourself, questioning what you're doing, why you're reacting in particular ways, but also kind of mindfully observing yourself constantly so that you can catch any sort of projection as it arises. For example, when you're having a certain reaction towards some type of people, let's say, it's very easy to get pulled into this emotional state, if you like. It's very easy to get pulled into your judgments or your simply a reaction towards certain behaviors. But when you pull yourself out of this state, you can actually inquire as to where is your reaction coming from. To approach it from another perspective, you might say that yes, you're authentic in this moment because you know what you feel, you're having a particular reaction to this sort of people, you know what you think, you might have a specific opinion about them, and you're also aware of how you're behaving. So all these three aspects might be in harmony, which to some extent demonstrates authenticity. But if you are projecting in this moment and your reactions are not coming from your true self, but rather come from, for example, your personal history, because you've been punished in the past repeatedly for expressing the precise behavior of these people that you're having their reaction to now, in this moment, or they are simply coming from a place of, for example, anxiety or fear against something that, I don't know, troubles you in your unconscious mind, something that happened in the past, let's say. I mean, there are many different possibilities, but as we can see here, there might be harmony between how you feel, what you think, what you say, and how you behave, but it doesn't mean that this harmony will represent the authentic self. So again, to develop this whole authenticity, if you like, I disagree with this approach of Carl Rogers, where he says that, yeah, you need to express this harmony between all these different aspects. I think we need to go a little bit deeper, because even though there is a harmony, we need to find out whether this harmony is about, the existing structure which represents your true self, or whether it's harmony between aspects which are part of your projections towards other people or towards the world in general. So as a summary note, if we want to develop authenticity, true authenticity or authentic authenticity, we need to be able to engage in this individuation process where we learn to distinguish between our authentic reactions and our projections towards other people and the world in general. Because if we get pulled into our projections, then obviously we can't be fully authentic, because our reactions will come from parts of our mind which probably still exist in the past and are a result of, different conditioning. So I hope it all helps. And in the next video, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into this subject of projections. So perhaps that could help you out with your own individuation process and learning more about yourself. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.